Hello, my friends. Welcome back once again to the Terry Hansen Show. I'm your host, Terry Hansen, and on behalf of myself and my co-host, Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, greetings from Podunk, Potato Land, Idaho. Great to be back with you on this episode number 41. You and I need to talk a little bit about where in the world do you find the very best list of companies that you can contact to start driving some new business into your company and fill up your sales pipeline. So regardless if you are a entrepreneur or a sales professional or a freelancer, and you are working hard to fill up your sales pipelines, generate new business so that you can boost your sales, let's talk a little bit about that. Before we do, I need to share a quick story with you that made me laugh a little bit today. Now, those of you who have kids, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. My wife and I have been married almost 20 years, and we have 5 wonderful kids. Our oldest is getting ready to go to college. Our second oldest, my oldest son, he's 17 years old. Had a funny experience with him this morning that gave me pause and just reminded me about you, actually, as a matter of fact. And I'll share this story with you. So in our family, in our culture, what we typically do in our household is we assign household chores to our kids. And every single week they're on the same chore every single day. And the rule is in our household is before you go to school, that particular chore needs to be knocked out and done 100% before they take off and go to school. And we've been doing this for years, so it's kind of routine, kind of habit. But I've got a 17-year-old son who sometimes pushes the boundaries a little bit. And this morning was no exception. So one of the jobs that he had before he goes to school was to clean up the playroom. We've got just a TV room, kind of a playroom area off the dining room. And there wasn't that much. There was a blanket and some socks. There was some dishes and some toys just laying around the ground, literally probably like a 60-second, maybe a 2-minute job tops. Super easy. Anyway, this morning I could tell he was running around kind of frantic and pretty busy trying to get himself ready to go to school. And I said, "Hey, buddy, don't forget to hit the playroom before you leave." "No worries, Dad. I'll get it done." "All right, sounds good." I went off to do some other things. He went off to do some other things. And about 10 minutes later, as we were kind of getting to that point, I said, "Hey, buddy, don't forget to hit that room. I know it's not done yet." "Yeah, don't worry, Dad. I'll get it done." "All right, sounds good." Anyway, about 5 minutes before he needed to go, I was a little distracted thinking about some other things. And he said, "Dad, can I print some things out in your office?" I said, "Sure, go ahead." So he goes into my office and prints some things out. And he came back, grabbed up his stuff, and gave him a hug goodbye. Told him, loved him, and hope he had a good day at school. And he grabbed his little sister, and they jumped in the car and took off. Anyway, as I looked out the window and I saw him driving away to school, I turned around and I looked at the playroom, and guess what? You guessed it, playroom had not been touched. Blankets still on the ground, toys still there, dishes there. He had not touched it. After I reminded him twice, and after he had assured me twice that he was going to take care of it. And I kind of had to chuckle and laugh because he only had 400 things on his brain. He's a senior in high school. He's actively engaged in all sorts of stuff. He's got a lot on his mind. He was moving quick this morning. And even though he verbally committed and told me he'd get it done during those final moments, he totally forgot about it. It just wasn't on his brain. Other things had crowded out that thought, and he left it undone. And don't worry, I called him on his way and said, blah, blah, blah. And we had a little chat. Anyway. But I thought about that experience as it relates to you. You and I are running businesses. We're entrepreneurs. We're working hard to grow our companies. We're sales professionals working hard to sell our products and services to the CEOs and executives and decision makers out there and the companies that we want to work with. We're freelancers working hard to hustle and build a good life for ourselves. And we know we've got to generate new business. And there's only 400 things going on at the same time, every single minute of every single day. We know we need to drive new business into our companies. And when we go to market, when we go to advertise, when we go to promote, when we go to prospect, sometimes we forget to do some fundamental, basic things that really make the biggest difference for us. We're moving so quick, so distracted by all the things that we have to do that we forget some of the basics. And one of those is to build what I call a dream 100 list. Now, that's not my term. It was coined by a mentor of mine named Russell Brunson, who I think got the term from somebody else. But a Dream 100 list is really a list of ideal companies that, more than anything else, you want to work with. How often, let me ask you this question, have you put together a list of 100 companies that you would love, love, love to do business with? Have you done that? If you're like most people, the answer is no, not yet. I know that's probably something I should do, but I haven't taken the time to do it. Well, that's where it stops. You and I have got to put that list together today, right? Okay, so to answer this question, how do you find a good list of businesses to contact? The answer is you have to create it yourself. Do not, under any circumstances, go to the marketplace and just buy a list of companies that somebody has told you is perfect for your industry. Don't do that. You've got to put together your own list. Why? Because what you sell and what you offer and your unique value is different than anybody else's. And one size fits all does not work here. So you've got to put together your own Dream 100 list. Now, how do you do that? Let me share with you 3 important tips and suggestions that you can use to put together your own Dream 100 list. We'll kind of go fast on this so that you can get back to the 399 other things that you've got to do today. So first is, number 1, you have to create a profile of your ideal company, your ideal client. Now, how do you put together a good profile? It's easy. Number 1, what you have to do is look at your existing customers. Who are your existing clients? Who are your existing customers that already know you, already love you, are already spending tons of money with you, and they're very happy? Look at those businesses as an example, as a model to model after, right? And ask yourself some of these questions. What industry are they in? How much revenue do they make? How many employees do they have? How many locations do they have? How do they run their business? What are some of their unique challenges that they have that make my product and service really a perfect fit for them? Again, how do they behave? How do they operate? How do they function? How do they do things in their business? What makes them such a great fit for my company in that way? What industry are they in? Where are they located? Who are the types of customers that they serve? You ask yourself 5 to 10 of these kinds of questions, and what's going to happen is you're going to come up with a list of criteria that define who an ideal client is for you. Okay, so you create really a template or a framework or a blueprint or a profile of who your ideal client is. That's got to be step 1. If you're going to go out to the marketplace and go build a Dream 100 list, doesn't it make sense that you're building a Dream 100 list of 100 companies that really are a dream customer for you? Okay, so that's step number 1. Step number 2 is, once you've got a good profile and you commit to me that you're actually going to take, today's Friday, by the way, so you've got a weekend, so take the time today and or over the weekend to put this profile together, right? So step number 2 now you need to put together your own list. You're not going to go buy a list. You're not going to use somebody else's list. You're going to create your own list. Yes, if it were easy, blah, blah, blah. But this is the grindy work that you've got to go through in order to get the results that you and I want. So put together your own list, right? No cheating. So now where do you put together a good list? Where do you get the people to get on this list? There's only about 150 different options out there. Let me just, for the sake of time, give you just three fast, easy ones, okay? The first one is LinkedIn. Now, I know you know what LinkedIn is. LinkedIn is a business-to-business social media platform, and it's great and wonderful and super-de-duper. They have a premium version of LinkedIn that you can use called Sales Navigator. And what it allows you to do is plug in all the profile criteria that you just created into their search feature there, type of industry, size of company, number of employees, geographic location, the list goes on and on and on, even keywords, right? And you can push search. And what LinkedIn does is it will pull up a big fat list of all of the companies that fit those characteristics and fit that parameter, right? Boom, done. You've got that list right there. So don't forget to use LinkedIn as a good search tool to help you come up with a list of 100 dream companies. Next one that you can use is obviously Google. Google's a pretty powerful tool. Now, let me give you an example of how this might work. So if one of my great customers is, say, a bank, for example, and I've gone through the process and I've profiled what makes this particular bank a really good customer for me, and I've got that criteria, and let's pretend that they've got banks that are doing more than $10 million. I'm making up numbers. That's probably not a lot of money for a bank. But $10 million, they've got more than 5 locations, and they really service the agricultural industry in commercial lending. That's like a great customer for me, for example. If I know that, then I can go to Google and I can type in banks, agricultural banks in my state. I can do my city, I can do my county, I can do my state, something like that. And what's Google going to do? It's going to pull up a list of companies that kind of meet that search criteria. And I can pick through, I can use credit unions, I can use banks, I can use, et cetera. So I can use Google to search and find, as long as I'm giving Google some good parameters there that I've created in my profile, it's going to do a good job. And I can repeat that again and again and again for the different segments that I've gone through. Okay. The next one is, think about associations. Associations or groups or clubs. Associations, like talking and writing at the same time. That's always tricky there. Associations, pretty close. Think about groups. Think about clubs. Think about events as well. All of these things have one thing in common, and that is they have a membership directory. A membership directory. So, for example, I can go to the Idaho Association of Dental Professionals. And what am I going to find on that website? I'm going to find a membership directory. I'm going to find a list of all the dentists that belong to that association, that club, that group, right? And I can cherry pick the very best ones that happen to meet my profile criteria right there. Done. Boom. Easy. I can rinse and repeat that same sort of thing with things like chambers of commerce. Or other types of membership groups or clubs that have, again, a membership directory. I can go through that directory and just pick out the companies that are relevant to me, that fit my criteria, and I can start putting together a list there. There's a bunch of other great resources out there. We don't have time to go through them all, but these are a fast 3 that you can use. The last one that I might suggest here is events, conferences, conventions, seminars, workshops. Attendees that go to that event, as well as the vendors that are there, they're usually listed on the event website somehow, some way, right? Not in every case, but in a lot of cases they are. So when you attend those events, or when you go to those event websites, you can get access to that directory of vendors or directory of attendees and things like that. Sponsors and other things. And those can be really great resources to target ideal clients and put together your list. Okay, last but not least is once you have put together your profile, once you've put together now a list of your Dream 100, now it's time to input all of that into your CRM. CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management Software. There's only about 150 bazillion CRMs out there that range from free every single month, like HubSpot, or even super cheap like Salesforce, to super premium and expensive with their enterprise solutions and all the bells and whistles and features and benefits there. So but use a CRM to keep yourself organized. You have to track and pay attention to what those conversations are. They have to be documented. You have to be reminded of when you need to follow up and what you need to do and what happened last week or a month ago. And use a CRM to keep yourself organized. Avoid the paper and pencil. Avoid the Excel spreadsheet. Avoid that stuff. Use a CRM. That's why these things were invented, to help you organize your prospecting list, manage it, and keep yourself organized and on track and running efficiently and smoothly. So anyway, these are pretty common sense, simple things, but so is cleaning up the playroom. It's common sense. It's simple. But because you and I are moving so fast and we're so distracted by the 150 other things that we have to do, sometimes these common sense, simple things slip our minds and we don't take the time to do it. And instead, when it's time to market, when it's time to promote, when it's time to advertise, when it's time to go generate new business and prospect and go fill up our sales pipelines, because we haven't done the work, to be prepared, our prospecting efforts are sometimes haphazard. They're a little random. They're a little disorganized. And so what happens as a result? The results that we get are a little haphazard. They're a little random. They're a little unorganized. The quality isn't that great. And the inconsistent results, manifest themselves. So let's avoid the kind of garbagey, inconsistent, crappy, results that come from not being well organized or prepared to go generate new business. Instead, let's take the time, build a good profile, build a good list appropriate for you, your Dream 100. Use a CRM to stay organized. And as you do these three things, these common sense things, your efforts to generate new business and fill up your sales pipelines will go 100 times better. So today we've unlocked yet one more secret in sales prospecting secrets that entrepreneurs and sales professionals and freelancers use to drive new business into their companies. So appreciate you guys. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your Friday. And on behalf of me and my co-host here, Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head from Podunk, Potato Land, Idaho, have a great rest of your day. And we look forward to seeing you back again on the next episode of The Terry Hansen Show. Take good care, guys. See you soon. Bye-bye.